So, I'm back. Welcome to the free astrotheology class course, astrotheology course. We've already created more than 100 hours of videos on our course textbook, The Gospel and the Zodiac, The Secret Truth About JC the Christ Figure. So we already have more than 100 hours of free lessons for you all to learn. Okay, scholars? So let's get into it. Again, the course textbook is The Secret Truth. Let me repeat that. The course textbook is The Gospel and the Zodiac, The Secret Truth About JC the Christ Figure. Okay, the author is Bill Darlington. The link is in the description area of this video. It's a free link. There's also a free link to the Devil's Pulpit, which is the absolute most complete, thorough work on astrotheology. The author is Robert Taylor. That's also provided to you for free. There's a free link there, and then there's a free link to the Ruin of Nations, okay? Ruin of Nations. And the two books that I mentioned. As you go through those, I want you to apply, try to identify and apply the 7 Hermetic Principles, if you can find them, if you can identify them. Understand how they apply and then apply them in your life. In other words, do them, okay? So that's the proper way to study. Okay, that's the proper way to study this material. The Hermetic Principles are there. If you don't know what they are, I have them listed in the description area of this video. You can read the Kabbalion. There's an audio book on YouTube. It's called the Kabbalion. The author is the 3 initiates, okay? Y'all do that. Now, inside of the Devil's Ruin, there is a book inserted called Natural Law. Make sure you study that and then repeat the same process. Identify the 7 Hermetic Principles, try to understand how they're being applied, and then continue to do, not just study and understand, but to do, to use by doing the 7 Hermetic principles or natural laws. Those are the laws or principles that govern everything. Okay? All right. So let's get into it. So we're on page 22. Y'all see I'm in a different venue. All right. So we stopped off on Cancer. All right. So we're in Cancer, page 22. All right. So Cancer begins in Mark chapter 6. Mark chapter 6, verse 30, through chapter 8, verse 26. The main incidents in this section of Mark that point to astrology, which is astrotheology because it's in scripture, okay? That's the difference. It could be any scripture, and it's still astrotheology, okay? There is a theme of nurture, like a mother nurtures her babies. There is an attack on traditions, food and stomach concerns. So y'all remember Cancer is here, the chest and the stomach. There is an attack on narrow and exclusive attitudes. Key words, the key zodiacal words for Cancer: summer solstice, or, well, I'll leave it at summer solstice, okay? Summer solstice, y'all remember, is June 21. June 21. It's the day of the year that has the most hours of sunlight. Therefore, the least hours of what? Of darkness. Okay? So if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you watch the video that I did immediately before this one. Okay? I think it's number 18. Another key word is nourishment, heritage, protection, the tribe. Now the tribe is very interesting, right? Clannishness associated with stomach and breast. So now let's go to the section on Mark and continue going through to see what we can find to verify the author's claims here. Okay, now remember, it doesn't have to be directly said. It can be indirectly stated, or it can be hidden in the mythology, the etymology, so on and so forth, okay? But we're going to see if we can find this. If y'all have your Bible with you, then you can, if you like, you can cut and paste what you find in the comment section and let people, so that other people can read it. So let's go over to Cancer. So basically what we're doing, we're just verifying the author's assertions. Right? That's really all we're doing. Why do we need to do this? As I've stated in the other videos, we need to do this because the author based his book, his work, on these sections of Mark's Gospel. Now, these are his personal sections. Okay, he came up with these sections. So let's see if we agree with him. All right, so let's get started. All right, very interesting. On page 103, let me show y'all the Cancer glyph. Okay, so on page 100, y'all see the image here? The shaded area is Cancer. Right here, that's Cancer. So take a look at the claws of Cancer. Now look at the glyph. Okay, so some people say this glyph looks like the claws of Cancer, right? But there's another view. Those could be breast. It could be a woman's breast, okay? But let's check it. It could be a woman's breast. All right? So let's go back to the page where I just looked at that. All right. So on page 103, so here we go, let's get started. The glyph of Cancer is generally thought to represent the crab's claw, but many see the glyph as a representation of the breasts, symbols of nurture and care, and of the transmission of nourishment from one generation to the next. Physiologically, it is said to rule the stomach and the digestive system. Okay, so that checks out, right? That checks out. So now we see where he got that from. Go back to page 22, under zodiacal keywords. We see nourishment, Ankor Goyo. Hi, Shalawama Ankor. Are you in Cambodia or from Cambodia? I'm asking because of your appellation is Angkor. Okay, so we see nourishment. That's from the woman's breast, right? Heritage, protection, the tribe, clannishness associated with stomach and breast. So there we go. That's where he gets the key words. Okay. Now let's continue. Okay, page 102. All right, so let's start under Cancer and the moon, y'all. The signs which mark the solstices and the equinoxes are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So let me show y'all, hold on. Let me demonstrate this. So this is the solstice. These are the solstices, this straw here. Summer solstice, June 21. Winter solstice, December 21. Okay? Then there is the equator. Not the equator, I'm sorry, the equinox. Spring equinox, March 19th. Fall equinox, I believe it's August 19th. August 19th or September 19th. For some reason, I don't remember. Okay? So, and here is the cross. Y'all see the cross? This is where the cross comes from. Clear? So the solstices, Cancer and Capricorn. Okay? Aries and Libra. Okay? Libra is the balanced scales. Okay, so in ancient Egypt, the scales are balanced. That's astrological. In the U.S, corporate nation state, the scales are imbalanced. Okay? They are imbalanced. Okay, so what is that telling you? That's telling you that they are out of balance, out of harmony with nature. Again, in ancient Egypt, the scales of Libra are balanced. There's justice. It is astrological in nature, harmonic with nature, rhythmic with nature. In the Western world, okay, that the hybrids rule, governed by Rome, the Catholic Church, the scales are imbalanced. Okay, so it's telling you through a symbol that there is no justice, that it is out of harmony with natural law. Y'all got it? All right. Okay, and that has to be so, right? Because they are corporations. It's a dead state. Okay? And by the way, so if you look at this as being the equator, and this is the eclipse. This is the apparent pattern or path of the sun when you're standing on the earth. This angle is 23 to 23.5 degrees, depending on who you read. Okay? So this is where the concept of time comes in, or chronos. Chronos, the god of time. And this is also supposed to be the cross. But there's a problem. That doesn't look like a cross, right? That looks more like an X. But this is what they teach. That this is supposedly the cross. Okay? But that looks like an S, so I don't buy that. But anyway, Chronos, the father of time. And this is supposed to be symbolizing that on earth, we're all dominated by time, and your time will come eventually, the good and the bad, and the eventual expiration. You will eventually expire. Okay, so we are ruled and governed by time. That's where they get that from, okay? Anyway, let's go back to it. So the signs which mark the solstices are the equinoxes, Aries and Cancer, Libra and Capricorn, are called cardinal signs. So that cross, those are the cardinal signs. This is why you see the Pope do like this, right? When he blesses you, he does like this. Those are the cardinal signs, meaning those signs are the beginning of the seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Okay? So at the beginning of a cardinal sign, there is powerful energy. The energy is at its maximum. Okay? The ending of a season, so for example, winter, so let's say we are it's March 19th, beginning of spring. So springtime energy is at its maximum, very powerful, bang. But the winter energy is at its minimum. It is extremely weak. Okay? It's mutable. Right? It's ending spring and then it's transitioning ending winter and transitioning into spring. Okay? So you'll see elements of both zodiac signs. Okay? Is that clear? And that goes for each cardinal point. It's true for each cardinal point. So let's continue. Each one of them, each cardinal point, is associated with a different element. Aries is cardinal fire. Cancer is cardinal water. Libra, cardinal air. And Capricorn, cardinal earth. In the beautiful, simple imagery of the zodiac, we see the tension that is produced by Cancer by the union of cardinality with water. Okay, let's just continue here and see what we can find. The cardinal signs denote pioneering activity. When I was in the religion, the people who were in the full-time ministry, I was at a time, our title was pioneers. So I didn't realize it at the time, but that was an astrological title. They didn't tell us that, right? Pioneering activity. So the pioneering activity we were doing was preaching the good news of the kingdom, right? Leadership. So what should we see? We should see in Mark's section that's dealing with Cancer, we should see pioneering activity, preaching, right? We should see leadership. Some signs of leadership. Whereas water represents the shrinking, fearful, self-protective instinct. Now, this information comes from Carter, which was published in 1925 on page 64. Herein lies the paradox of Cancer. So familiar to us, just at the point of maximum opportunity to press forward and achieve our goals, we retreat into the securities of the past. So we should see that in the gospel section, right? We should see this. That's the point of me going through this. I'm trying to show you how to research this. Okay? So we see Cancer chapter 6, 30 through chapter 8, 26. We see themes of nurture, attacks on traditions. Now that might be what? That might be leadership. Let me go back through here. I feel a little bit uncomfortable. I'm in a new place. And I kind of feel like I'm disturbing people because it looks like everybody's doing some work. But y'all bear with me. I lost my spot. Okay, so pioneering activity, leadership. Okay, that's at one extreme. And then we see the exact opposite, right? Shrinking, that means cowardice, fearful, self-protective. Y'all see that? So what principle, what natural law is that dealing with? That's the law of what? Polarity. See how that works? Okay? The opposite of leadership is what? You're either a leader or you're a follower. The opposite of pioneering activity takes courage to be a pioneer, right? So the opposite of that would be a coward. You do nothing. Okay? And also to protect yourself. Because when you pioneer something, you put yourself at great risk. So you would be what? A coward and self-protective. So y'all see the law of polarity there? The Hermetic Principle or law of polarity. See that? Okay. Herein lies the paradox of Cancer. Just at the point of maximum opportunity to press forward and achieve our goals, we retreat fearfully into the securities of the past. So in other words, you are right there and then you self-sabotage. That's what the author means. Self-sabotage. All you need to do is take that 1, 2, 3 steps forward, even though you don't know what's going to happen, or even though it looks like it might cost you your life. But y'all know that one of the primary mindsets that you have to achieve the things that you desire in your life, you've got to burn all boats. You have to be willing to die for them. And that quite often is the difference. It makes the difference. Okay, people get chunked out or punked out of their goals. That's the author's point. So we should see all of this in Mark chapter 6, verse 30, through chapter 8, verse 26. We should see this stuff, okay? So all we need to do is check for it, right? We just need to read those verses and check to see if we see these elements. This is the way to study. Let's continue. So y'all keep this in mind too. People self-sabotage for many, many reasons. But the fear of the future, let me repeat that. The trauma of the past can make you afraid of the future. Do y'all see that? And because you are afraid of the future, you are indifferent, or you freeze, or you choke. Y'all see it? So we should see some element of choking in these gospels, in this section of the Gospels. Okay? But if someone would read through it really quickly, and if y'all see that cut and paste, if you see any of these elements cut and paste it, put it in the comment sections, I would really appreciate that greatly. Okay, so let's continue. The crab is the perfect symbol of this. Now remember, from yesterday's presentation, our ancestors didn't use the crab. They used the tortoise, the turtle, the crayfish. There was one other, and the crab came later. The crab is modern day astrology glyph for Cancer. okay, or for the constellation that we now call Cancer. Okay, so I'm going to take what he's saying right here with a grain of salt. You do what you want to do. Crab is the perfect symbol of this. I disagree because that's not how my ancient ancestors represented this constellation. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to go back to living our lives the way our ancient foremothers and forefathers lived their lives. Same paradigm. Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. Honor your mothers and your fathers. Y'all see that? And this is by contract, or the Mosaic covenant. Keeping the Most High's commandments. Everybody see how it works? All right. What our mindset should be? Screw you. I don't care what you think or what your reasons are. I'm going with what my ancient foremothers and forefathers went with before we got put under the curses. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68. Okay? Y'all see that? All right. So Cancer, or the crab, it is one of the most absurdly constructed creatures, a walking paradox. Yeah, that's true. A crab does look funny, right? Its body does look very weird. Okay, it's a walking paradox. How does it walk? Let's continue. With the skeletal system on the outside protecting its soft and vulnerable interior flesh. So that's where this concept of protection comes in, from the crab. Well, a turtle or tortoise also has a exoskeleton, a hard layer, right? A shell, rather. So does a crayfish, also has a shell. Okay, so I won't take issue with that part. So that's where the protective part comes in. Okay? Mentioned, well, that's another instance of the protective part from page 24. So let's continue. A crab's movement lacks the consistency of direction which marks the movement of most other creatures, because a crab is moving like this, right? Okay. Instead, it scuttles. It scuttles, apparently uncertain of its destination. And just to be on the safe side, it carries its house along with it. Well, maybe it's smart. You take your house with it. Take your house with you, and you never have to go home. Right? Home is always where you're at. Its tenacious claws enable it to grab and hold on to all things it needs to make its life bearable. Well, I don't see anything crazy about that. It may be different, but nothing. I mean, it's not an indication of a poor design, right? So the information we just read, such gives us a clue as to how the ancient world saw the Cancer type. Energetic, but cautious. Concerned with home and family, right? It takes his house with it. Trapped in the past, trapped in a shell, while constantly threatening to break away from it. Okay? Sensitive and caring beneath the thin, hard shell of aggressive self-protection. So we should see elements of this in Mark's Gospel, the section on Cancer. It's chapter 6, verse 30 through chapter 8, verse 26. We should see these personality traits, okay? Menelaus, rather unkindly perhaps, dwells on Cancer's grasping nature. So always reaching out for something. And its ability to, quote unquote, sell the world's produce or sell the world's produce to the world, to establish commercial ties between so many unknown lands, and to search out under foreign skies fresh resources of grain. That's book 4, line 165 through 71. Psychologically, says Mayo, Cancer represents quote, the primitive urge to protect and to nourish, especially the feminine desire to receive. So Cancer has high feminine energy. Okay, y'all? Cancer has high feminine energy. What does that mean? That means that Cancer is very susceptible to someone else's, outside of themselves, masculine energy. So in other words, they're very susceptible to be hypnotized, brainwashed, right? If their masculine energy is weak. Y'all remember the lessons we did on that. This is the Hermetic principle of gender here. Okay, the Hermetic principle of gender. Okay? Cancer represents the primitive urge to protect and to nourish, especially the feminine desire to receive into the womb and to possess. So Cancer should also be very creative, right? Very creative. But remember, if you have a weak feminine, if you have a weak masculine energy, your Cancer energy will just give you, or create and reproduce, give you images that come from outside of yourself. Even though you're not aware of it, you feel like it's your thought, it's your images. No, but you're being influenced, heavily influenced by media, or whatever the source of the masculine energy is. That's probably whatever you do the most. YouTube, music, television, magazines, whatever it is, religion, right? That masculine energy will produce mental images, okay, that don't belong to you. Your feminine energy will just keep on doing it, okay? So you have to develop your willpower. Know who you are. That goes into nationality, your Moorish nationality, and the Most High's commandments. You need to learn this stuff and start living it, and then exercise your willpower to feel how you want to feel in terms of your mood, to live how you want to live in terms of your lifestyle. Exercise your will by setting goals in all areas of your life so that your masculine energy overpowers any external masculine energy that, believe you me, it is directed at you, laser focused at you, each and every one of you scholars. And then that way you take your life back and you take your mind back. And what? Now you start getting the results that you want in life. Psalms 82:6. Okay, you are God's, all of you. Okay, so let's continue. So I hope everyone is seeing how the natural laws are all on display here. We can see them all. Okay? All of them have a cosmic origin. They're all natural phenomena. Concrete natural phenomena. Okay? And the Hermetic principles are the laws or principles that govern them, that undergird them. Okay? Okay, so let me move on. I think I've covered enough about that. Wait. author makes a good point, a good example of Cancer. Look at this, y'all. Look at this. Mike Tyson, Iron Mike Tyson, typifies the aggressive shell hiding the vulnerable interior. Y'all see that? Mike Tyson was misled and used by everybody. He said it out of his own mouth. Why? Because his masculine energy was weak. Didn't know who he is. Had no clue. Okay? Y'all saw him go through his religious things, finding himself, and all of that, and he was used and abused according to him by Don King and everybody because he had weak masculine energy, although he was the baddest man on the planet physically, right? But his gender energy, you know, the natural law of gender, the masculine energy was weak. His sense of I, who he is, his I am, was weak. Therefore, the I am, or the will of outside people, interacted with his feminine energy, and they produced a Mike Tyson that they could easily abuse and use and take his money. Okay? All right. So let's move past that. All right, so so here we are, Mark chapter 6. We are in the spiritual lessons of Cancer. This is page 105. Mark chapter 6, verse 34. When JC landed and saw the large crowd, he had compassion on them. So there's the nurturing element. We see nurturing. He had compassion on them. That's like a mother, right? Nurturing her children. Because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. He's protecting them, right? Nurturing and protecting. Okay. Let's see what else we can find here. Okay. Subheading again, the spiritual lessons of Cancer, page 105. So this section, the Cancer section of Mark, begins in characteristic Cancerian fashion with a withdrawal. Y'all know how a crab will withdraw, right? A crab will withdraw like this, okay? The apostles have returned from their mission and have begun to tell JC of their experiences. He senses their weariness and suggests that they accompany him into a secluded place to rest for a while. However, their movements are being monitored, and great crowds of people run ahead of them. Okay? So we see the withdrawal there. Let's continue. The next paragraph. The crab-like urge to retreat into seclusion. Okay, so we see the retreat, the protective, right? The drawing back. After an active sortie, that's the pioneering, right? The leadership is in no sense a bad thing. And the text does not imply that it is. It simply suggests that it is impossible. For those on the spiritual path, what the heck is spiritual mean? The spiritual path, since it's a path, I'm going to associate that with the Mazarat, the Zoad, the Zodiac, okay? The annual path that the sun takes in and out of each zodiac sign. Okay? The author never defined spiritual. So I will never allow an author to activate my imagination. That's my choice. Right? I control that. Once you activate your imagination, you initiate narrative transportation. Okay, narrative transportations will put you into a story. If you do that often enough, or if it's powerful enough, meaning emotionally intense enough, you will begin to believe the story, and you'll begin to live your life based upon that story. Okay? And that's what has happened with these gospel stories. So let's continue. So you make sure that you control when you activate your imagination. Okay, I'm talking about seeing images in your mind. Right? Everybody should know what imagination is. Okay? All right. For those on the spiritual path, there can be no inactive period. Why can there be no inactive period? Because remember, the law, see, y'all see how do you see the natural, do you see the cosmic, the physical phenomena, right? Y'all see the cosmology, right? The Zodiac is the path. But they remixed it into a biological, a biographical story. Right? Spiritual path. What the heck is that? That's abstract. It's totally ambiguous. But it is the Zodiac. What else do they say? There can be no inactive period. Well, of course there can be no inactive period. Why? Because the sun doesn't stop for anyone. And the law of vibration says that everything is constantly moving. Nothing stops. Do y'all see it? All based in nature, natural law, the cosmos. The laws that govern the cosmos. See how they're doing this? Remixing the cosmos into a religion. See that? See the remix, y'all? Oh, wow. I don't know if y'all, I had a message that the signal stopped. So put a 1 in there if y'all didn't hear anything I said, if there was a break in the signal. Put a 1 if there was a break, a 2 if there was no break. All right. So concern for those in need and compassion for those in distress must take precedence over even legitimate personal requirements. This is JC at his most maternal. See that? Nurturing. At his most maternal, responding to the needs of others regardless of the cost to himself. Okay, so we saw that. We can check that off. Okay, the shepherd who, as John's gospel tells us, will quote unquote lay down his life for his sheep, that's John chapter 10:11, is apt at an expression of the essence of cancer protectiveness. Okay, so let's see what else. JC had shown compassion before. That's in Mark chapter 1, verse 41, 5, verse 19, but only to individuals. So this time he showed compassion or pity to a whole crowd. Okay, that's the difference. Before it was just to individuals. This time it's to a whole crowd. Okay? So let's continue. Well, y'all remember the story at Mark chapter 6, verse 40 through 44. JC sat the people down in groups of hundreds and fifties. He took 5 loaves and 2 fish, and he fed the crowd. Okay, so that's again what? Protection, or protecting, and nurturing. Cancer. Okay, the 2 fish are what? Pisces. Pisces are 2 fish, one going north, the other one going south. They're going in opposite directions. You read the characteristics of Pisces, it is extremely toxic. Pisces is the most toxic of all the zodiac signs. Chaotic toxicity, duplicity, intentional deceit, intentional deception, just lying to you, right? So what's the point of the lie? The point of the lie is to get you to believe something, or to get you to do something that you wouldn't otherwise believe or do, okay? What's the big lie? The big lie is religion. The big lie is religion. That's the big lie. Okay? The big lie is that some sky deity is going to return and save you. You have no savior but yourself. That's the natural law. Okay? So all of this deception is intended for you to put your hopes and your dreams for salvation in the hands of an external deity who you're going to wait for. You're going to wait for him. You're going to be passive and wait while the hybrids live off of your birthright. You live in poverty, or you live in fear of your life or the life of your heirs, your kinfolks, and they live in the lap of luxury. And none of that property belongs to them, it's yours. That's why they're lying to you. That's why they keep you ignorant. That's why they always hit you with media that puts you in a bad light. Right? Why? Why do they do that? Well, we just went over the principles or the natural law concept of polarity, vibration, rhythm, and gender. That's why they do it. Because they want to polarize you on the negative end of every emotional state. Remember? Hold on, y'all. Each emotion is really the same thing. It's the same thing. The negative is here, the positive is here. It's the same thing. The only difference is degree. So are you in the middle? Are you at the negative pole? Are you at the positive pole? Or are you somewhere in between these? So for example, courage and fear, happy and sad, positive self-image, I deserve everything, I'm worth it, it's my birthright, you know, you don't have to like me, I can make mistakes, I still deserve it. Or where you feel undeserving, unworthy. It goes on and on. Honor and dishonor. Tell the truth, liar. They polarize you at the negative end of all the emotions. At the negative end of your own self-image. That's why they put these negative images out. So you see yourself in a negative way, where you always feel disempowered. Put you in a financial situation where you need to steal or lie or cheat just to get by. Or you feel those are your only options. You don't have better options. So you're always polarized in dishonor and negativity. Y'all see it? What does that do? That means that your dishonor makes you out of harmony with nature, and nature will therefore punish you. These are the curses. Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15 through 29. How do they do it? I just told you. We went through it. Watch the last 5 videos. I talked about polarity, vibration, rhythm, and gender. I also gave you the technique to reverse it, to stop it, and to impose those laws, your will, on them, to put them in the curses and put you in the blessings. Deuteronomy chapter 28, 1 through 14, that's the blessings. The tangible material wealth, leadership. The curses, Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68. All the punishments, sickness, death, disease, loss of nationality, everything else. Rose nor Calgal. Shalawama. Shalawama, Rose. Okay? So those last 5 videos, I spelled it out clearly. Clearly. All we need to do as a people is to return to nature. That means follow the Most High's commandments. His commandments are natural law. Through nature itself, when we impose our masculine energy, it will override theirs. And it will produce what we want them to be. Okay? And that's get out of my chair. I'm the rightful heir. That's my property. Get out of my seat. There's only 2 options. You're the heir or you're not. Ro right, Shalawama. Shalawama, Ro. Good to see you back. Okay? If you're not the heir, that means you can't inherit anything. Okay? Now, that means all of the terrible things that they did to us, they will now have to pay for. Why? Because we are no longer doing it to ourselves. Y'all see? See, when we are in dishonor, we relieve them of much of their karmic debt. So they stay in power longer without having to pay. But once we stop acting in honor, then all the stuff that they do, that they've done to us, they and their ancestors, now it's time to pay. Right? Karma will kick in. And the tables will turn. Deuteronomy chapter 30. Right? When we return to the Most High, the Most High will then do what? Take the curses off of us, put us in the blessings, and put the curses on those who have oppressed us, who have punished us, all by natural law. Everybody see that? And we don't need everyone to do it. Y'all know the principle, I think it's called the 99 monkey or something like that. I talked about that in the last video before this one. There's a natural phenomenon that when a small percentage of a population starts to take up an idea and then start acting on it, it changes overnight the entire consciousness of an entire population. All you need to do is reach that critical mass, and then the entire population will adapt the behavior. So we just need some of us to start returning to the Most High, harmonizing with nature, letting go of these foreign deities, these religions, and return to the Most High. That means you have no fear of those deities anymore. You no longer speak their language. You no longer quote in scriptures to make your point. Unless, of course, you are expressing those scriptures in terms that our ancestors expressed them in, which was nature, cosmology, natural law. Okay? When you get to that point, now you're harmonic with nature. You're keeping the Most High's commandments. And we get enough people to reach that critical mass, and then the entire house of Yasharal, all of the autochthonous Moors, will begin to harmonize with nature, just like that. Okay? Overnight, just like that. Honor will be restored. Okay? And at that point, we can expect what? The curse is to be taken off of us as a people and put on them. Okay, put on everyone who has cursed and oppressed us. Is that clear, scholars? Is that clear how that works? All of it based on natural law. Okay, no hocus pocus, no devils and demons, none of that. Just natural law. No remixes. No remixes. Just nature and natural law. Okay? So let's continue. Okay, so this remarkable miracle where Jesus, so the two fish, that's Pisces. Remember the chaos, Pisces, corporations. Remember Capricorn, corporations. Pisces, deceit, war. War. You study Christian history or Western history, how Rome, the Catholic Church, went about conquering, you will get a very good understanding of Pisces. That's the Pisces characteristics laid out right there before you. Very warlike, liars. Rome never kept a treaty. When I say Rome, I'm talking about the U.S. nation state. Okay? So that's also the Catholic Church, right? They never kept the treaty with the so-called Indians. Even those treaties, from what I understand, were unlawful because they went to specific, or not specific, but they just went to communities of people, locals, and did treaties with them. And they were not, according to law, supposed to do that. Why? Because of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. We already had that. So you see the deceit, creating all of those treaties. That explains why they never kept them too, right? Because they knew that they were unlawful from jump, right? You know the hidden hand in Freemasonry? The hidden hand, right? How they do these deceitful things, create false histories, create false documents, create statutory legal system. Y'all see that? And then they throw it in your face because they say you're ignorant, right? Well, they keep you ignorant using, again, everybody, polarity, vibration, rhythm, and gender. Like my mother said, you don't even much know who you is. Now how you gonna try to tell me something? You know who you is. Your I am is weak. They do it intentionally. That's the public fool's system. That's why as soon as you say you are a Moor, okay, now everybody's mad. Now everybody's trying to scare you. You see that? You're everything. You're a Baptist. You're a Catholic. You're what? You're a Seventh-day Adventist. You're a Negro. You're Indian. You're all of these things. Roro writes, wow, I was looking at a hidden hand picture with multiple Albions in it. That's what they do. The hidden hand, they create these false stories. They create a historical JC the Christ figure, a false hope, a false savior. And then they force our people through mental manipulation into their school systems. Terrorize you to death to force you, to corral you into their churches. Right? You wouldn't need a church or religion if you didn't have anything to fear? Think about that, y'all. Why do you need a savior if your life is amazing already? Huh? Why would you need a savior? If you could solve all your own problems, if you had your own land, you had everything you need in super abundance, you wouldn't look for a savior. For what? Right? But you are already that. But that has been stolen from your identity. So they corral you into the churches. Why? So that they can further destroy your self-image and enforce their masculine energy, their will for you to be a stateless refugee, a Civiliter Mortuus cow or sheep, so that they can continue living off of your hereditament. Y'all got that? They use natural law to keep you down, to keep us down. Okay? So now let's continue. So Jesus repeated the miracle. That's in Mark chapter 8, verse 1 through 10. So that checks out again. Okay? So let me see. I'm still checking, y'all. Give me a second. Okay, so let's look at the pioneering. Pioneering. Okay. So this is page 106. I'm going to start. Well, let me not do that. I was going to start in the middle of a sentence, but that might be confusing for some people. So page 105. To begin with, the two incidents occur in different places. That's the two incidences where he fed the people. Oh, the 5 loaves, I forgot. Before we do that, the 5 loaves. Loaves are made of what? Grain. Most likely wheat or corn, right? Now put 2 and 2 together, y'all. Well, never mind. Let's move through it. So it's wheat or grain. So Virgo is a zodiac sign that's carrying wheat or corn. People like to argue whether it was wheat or corn. We won't get into that. But in either case, Virgo holds wheat or corn. So this event probably happened in the month of Virgo. Okay? But the significance of the number 5, I don't know. If someone knows somebody who knows the ancient meanings associated with the numerical values, for example, 5, let me know. Reach out to me. I don't have that knowledge. Or put it in the comment section. What does 5 mean? It's not just a number like we learned today. 5 times 5, and that's all the information there is about 5. Now, there's much more to it than that. Okay? So there's probably there's definitely more to this number 5 than what's on the page. Okay? As a matter of fact, I just got a thought. Let me check something. Let me see if my thought is correct. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So 5. Listen. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. What do you think is next? What do you think is next after 5? Virgo. Well, there we go. There we go. All right. So that's one level of meaning. Okay, 5 probably has another meaning. Okay, so 5 zodiac signs. So Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. 5 loaves of bread. So you pass those 5 and you get to what? Virgo. Virgo holds the wheat or the corn. See that, y'all? See how that works? Okay, so let's continue. The first feeding of the crowd was in Galilee. No change of location has been indicated since JC was, look at this, y'all, preaching, quote, round about the villages. That's pioneering. Near his home, that's Mark chapter 6, verse 6. 6, 6. Okay? 6 is a perfect number. Why are they tagging preaching or evangelizing with the perfect number and then emphasizing it? Why? Because they want to put perfect positive energy on the preaching work. They want to have perfect positive energy, natural energy flow on their evangelism, their preaching to recruit members. Y'all see how this is working? So that's the pioneering. JC went preaching. So they use a perfect number, right? And we were thinking all of this time that 6 is the devil number. And 666 is an imperfect devil number. But absolutely not. In nature, it is a perfect number. Go back and watch the last 5 videos I did. You'll find that information about the number 6. Okay? So let's go back to page 22. Page 22. Okay. So far we've identified the summer solstice. We covered summer and winter solstice in the last couple videos. Nourishment, Christ, JC fed the crowds. Okay. We still got to get to heritage. We covered protection. We still need to get to the tribe, clannishness. Wait. Let me go back. We've covered the theme of nurture. We need to get back to attack on traditions. We covered food and stomach concerns, that they're hungry, right? He fed the people with 2 fishes, and 5 loaves. Attack on narrow and exclusive attitude. So we still need confirmation that this information is in the section of Mark that the author said. Okay? We covered the association with stomach and breast. We covered that. Okay, so let's go back to it. Let's see what else we can find. So again, the pioneering, the preaching, or they call it, when I was in the religion I was in, the preaching work. Okay, other Christians call it evangelizing. But this is Mark chapter 6, verse 6. No coincidence, y'all. No coincidence. Okay, so they put the positive cosmic energy, the perfect. Remember, perfect means complete. When you perfect something, that means you complete it. So what are they saying? They're saying that their preaching work to convert the entire world into Christianity. Guess what, y'all? Islam is Christianity. Islam and Catholicism, Baptist, Episcopal, these are all Christianity with a different name and a different way of dressing. Y'all got that? Islam was created by the Catholic Church. Clear? What's the fastest growing according to these surveys that they're taking? fastest growing religion in the world is supposed to be Islam. That's Christianity. That's just a different style of Christianity. So they put the first perfect natural number on their preaching work. And it has been successful for them. Do y'all see it? Robo writes, could it be 5 and 2 equals 7? Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent point. Excellent point. Excellent point. You are exactly right. 5 and 2 is 7. But I think it would have to be, so in other words, hold on. Yeah. Yes, you're exactly right. Give me 1 second. So everyone sees how this is working? Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find something. I think I ran the students out. They were studying for their college entrance exam, mathematics. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me find what I want to share with y'all. Hopefully, where is it? It's just on the line of what you just said, Roro. Give me 1 moment. I'm looking for the subheading. The subheading for the number 7, so I can share with the people the significance of what you wrote here. They may not be aware. Give me 1 second. Okay, so page 38. Page 38, y'all. The number 7. Okay, so the sacred number 7. So Roro, I would agree with you. The sacred number 7 occurs nearly 600 times in the Bible. That's according to Davies, J, page 116. So the sacred number 7 is probably associated with the idea of cosmic harmony. Y'all got that? The idea of cosmic harmony. So they put the perfect number 6. Perfect in nature. Not just once, but twice. They're emphasizing. Okay? They're putting the perfect number 6 on their preaching work, on their pioneering, on their evangelistic work. And then they have it 5 loaves and 2 fish. So they're putting what? The perfect number, the number 7, the sacred number 7, to make their preaching work harmonize with nature, cosmic harmony. Do y'all see that? No devils and demons. We learn from Genesis that capital God blessed and sanctified the 7th day. This is Genesis chapter 2, verse 3. And from Leviticus chapter 23, that the Jewish liturgical year was constructed around septenary cycles. That's cycles of 7. The 7th month, the 7th year, and the 7x7 year, that's 49, have great significance in Judaism. Why? Because it's cosmic harmony. Y'all see that? See how they use that? There have been a good many attempts to explain why 7 is so important. It is the number of planets, including the sun and the moon. So in ancient times, our ancestors counted the sun and the moon as planets. So anything other than those 7 planets, in my opinion, we should not acknowledge. Why? Because our ancient ancestors said it was 7, and you can see by their technology, they knew more about it than we do, right? And never trust your enemy. So what am I saying? Let's say Neptune, this so-called planet Neptune. Well, there's also a sea deity named Neptune. Okay? The planets have been anthropomorphized into deities. Neptune, and you invite the Raphaim, the Oannes, the Dogon, you invite these deities, these demons, into your life. Y'all see how that works? So honor your ancient foremothers and forefathers. Rock with what they rock with. Okay? 7 is the number of planets, including the sun and the moon, visible to the naked eye. Wait a minute. If our ancestors knew about Sirius, if all of the ancient cosmology, cosmic knowledge that they know, that they had, you think that they wouldn't be aware of other planets if they actually existed? No. This visible with the naked eye, that's BS. Okay? If it was there, they would have known about it. Okay? So in other words, I need to accept what modern day astrological priests / scholars who have taken an oath to forward manifest destiny and the doctrine of discovery to denationalize and steal my inheritance and give it to their own. I'm supposed to believe them. I'm not a fool. I'm not a fool. You do what you want, but I'm not a fool. You see how when we return to nature, we follow our ancient foremothers and forefathers? It's protective of ourselves. Y'all see that? Okay, 7 is the number of visible stars in the constellation Ursa Major, which, since it never leaves the northern sky, was a natural symbol of permanence and indestructibility. These all seem plausible enough, and any of them could be the source of the number 7's symbolic reference, or in other words, why 7 is sacred. So the planets are sacred. Okay? 7 would be what? Complete. That's all of them, right? The whole. However, Joseph Epps Brown, in his Spiritual Legacy of the American Indian, notes that 7 was also sacred on the American continent. Well, I'm not surprised about that, because I know where the promised land is according to Moses. And the reason he gives could well help to explain 7's importance in biblical symbolism. The concept of the vertical axis explains that the sacredness of the number 7 to the Indians, and it's interesting to note that their interpretation is identical to that found in other major religions. So we should be aware, y'all. Replace religion with scientific knowledge. Okay? We were not religious worshiping the moon and the stars. That's BS. No, they're remixing, hiding our scientific prowess, putting a religious mask over it. To do what? To give historicity to their religious paradigm. To make it seem like religion is extremely ancient. No, it's not. Religion is new, y'all. Okay, religion is a new thing. And adding the vertical dimensions of the sky and earth to the horizontal four ones, to the four horizontal ones of space, we have 6 dimensions with the 7th dimension as the point of center where all directions meet. That's on page 36. So I'm not going to go into that. Let's go back to where we are in our discussion. Okay, so Ro, you are right. Excellent point. Excellent point. Everybody should give Ro a hand. That's an excellent point. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm very happy about that. Very, very happy about that. So let's continue, y'all. Page 106. 1 second. Okay. It says here, remember we were talking about the 2 cases where where JC fed the crowds, right? However, the second feeding occurs in Gentile territory. Clear? The second time he fed the crowds, it was in Gentile territory on the coast of the Decapolis. That's in Mark chapter 6, verse 31. Furthermore, as if to underline the Jew-Gentile theme is important, Mark uses 2 different words for a basket in his twin accounts. Now, why did the author use the word twin? Why didn't he just write in his 2 accounts? We know that these accounts were not the same. He just said that 2 or 3 sentences ago. He said the accounts were different. Why is he calling them twin? Twin is Gemini, right? The twins are Gemini. But the fish are also twins. Can you tell 2 of the same breed of fish, or whatever you call it? Can you tell them apart? Absolutely not. 2 twin accounts. Think about that. Think about the characteristics of Gemini. We're talking about Christianity and the pioneering, preaching, evangelistic work. Deception, chaos. So what? Chaos. You create chaos and confusion, and then you come in with the solution. War, all of these things. Y'all see how Gemini is very toxic. It's negative pole. Okay, so in the quote, Jewish, unquote, feeding, JC uses the word kaphanos, which Abbott Smith informs us means a basket, probably of wicker work, such as was carried by the Jews for food. In the quote-unquote Gentile feeding, the word sphuris, which is a more generic term with no Jewish connotations. Okay? So when he fed the people, the word for basket was kaphanos. When he fed the Gentiles, the word for basket that was used was sphuris. Okay? The numbers are also different and therefore of significance. In the feeding of the 5,000, 12 baskets of surplus are collected from the 5 loaves. So obviously, when he fed the Jews, the Jewish people, that's not the bloodline, right? That's a religion. 12 constellations. 12 apostles, 12 this, 12 that. It's cosmic, okay? 12, cosmic harmony. 12 baskets to harmonize with the 12 constellations. Okay? As Roro pointed out, The 5 loaves, 5 plus 2, the 2 fishes, 7. Cosmic harmony, sacred. Okay? The verse was Mark 6, verse 6. So what? Perfect. An emphasis, perfect. Perfect means complete. In other words, this energy is harmonic with the cosmos, and it will be completed. That's what that means. Using nature to do it, using cosmic energy to do it. Y'all see it? Okay. In the feeding of the 4,000, so now he fed 4,000, 7 baskets from 7 loaves. So in the feeding of the 4,000, there were 7 baskets collected from 7 loaves. So 7 plus 2 is 9. Okay. Wait. Let me go back. In the feeding of the 4,000. Oh, okay. So 7 baskets. So we went over 7. 7 is a sacred number. Okay. So cosmic harmony and 7 loaves. Okay. So cosmic harmony, meaning that those will also be cosmically harmonic. All right. So basically, what he's doing, in my opinion, he's putting positive cosmic energy on both of these, that they will be able to be receptive to his, to the Christian message and become members, right? It is more likely then that 5 and 12 specifically indicate Jews. The 5 books of Moses comprise the Pentateuch, the foundation of Jewish religion. So that's another aspect of it. And the 12 is obviously reference to the 12 tribes of Israel. No, 12 tribes of Israel, but also the 12 constellations. Similarly, 7 and 4 could obliquely refer to the 70 Gentile nations. Well, that's a good point. There's an asterisk. To the 70 Gentile nations which were scattered around the 4 corners of the earth. So 7 plus 0 is 7. Okay, 7 plus 0 is 7. All right? Or 7, you remove the 0 because it's nothing. Okay? It gives you 7. So the asterisk reads, 70 Gentile nations are mentioned in Genesis chapter 10. 70 people went down into Egypt with Jacob. Remember, 7 is cosmic harmony. And 70 elders were appointed to assist Moses in his ministry. That's Numbers chapter 11, verse 25. This number has consistently been associated with universality. According to Ptolemy, the earth was divided into 4 quadrants: north, south, and then east and west, each under the influence of an astrological element: earth, fire, air, and water. 4. This quote comes from the Tetrabiblios on page 129 through 131. Everybody seeing how this is working? So I don't know if the proper word is numerology, but we need somebody who has some knowledge of this. And don't get spooked out when I say numerology. Darrell-El, 2. Can you explain what you mean, Darrell-El? Actually, Darrell-El, you might know. You have any knowledge of what these numbers mean? Not just the quantity. For example, 5. But do you have some knowledge of the historical meaning associated with the numbers 1 through 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? or however that system works, or numerology. Don't get spooked out, scholars in the audience. It's not devils and demons. It's just ancient meaning associated with numbers that we have not been taught in the schools because they don't want you to know. All right? That's part of the deception and the miseducation. So we need somebody who has some knowledge of this to bring these fine points out to our attention, because I don't have the knowledge in that area. So let's see what else we got, y'all. Taken together, the two stories are designed to show that compassion, there's the nurturing again, has no racial boundaries. That's BS. It has absolutely nothing to do with that, because race is a new construct. It did not exist in ancient times. There were natural men and women sprung from the earth, and there were hybrids. Period. There's no such thing as black, white, Asian, and all of this other nonsense. These are political constructs. Okay? These are tools to implement and maintain the doctrine of discovery and manifest destiny. Period. To denationalize you and to take your inheritance. That's all it is. Okay? So this is BS, and I'm sure the author is aware that it's BS. Okay? So taken together, the two stories are designed to show that compassion has no racial boundaries. That's BS. That is BS. He's evangelizing right now. Why? Because he knows that it is not just us, the autochthonous Moors, who have been injured, but it's everybody. Even the hybrids have been injured from their lives. Right? Maybe they just have a guilty conscience. Some of them might have a conscience. Okay? Or for whatever their psychological state is. Maybe they feel like they don't deserve what they have. And he's reaching out indirectly with this BS. Okay? But there is more to them than this. In breaking the bread, JC anticipates the action he will perform at the Last Supper. Y'all know that this breaking of bread, I think it was Mithra. Don't quote me on this, y'all go check it out. Both Mithra and Mithraism and Zoroastrianism, there's also breaking of bread. You know, the wafer, that whole event, Christ's Last Supper, or the evening meal, or whatever you call it, that existed before. It was a copy. Darrell-El writes, I wonder if most hybrids are born under the sign Pisces. Hey, man. I remember when I was like a first-year college student. I went to go see one of my professors in his office, and his secretary was there. I was like 19 years old. Man, when I looked at her, she looked like she was stuck in the 1950s. She was dressed like that, and I thought to myself, wow, she looks like a stone cold racist. Man, do y'all know this woman called security and told the security guards that I had been harassing her? I had done nothing but went in there and asked to see my professor, and I sat down and waited. And then security came. Yeah. I must have been 19 years old. But I had plenty experience with these hybrids like that. So let's continue. Where are we? This link, so he's talking about the Last Supper. I'm on page 106. This link gives us a clue to the meaning of these two feeding stories. JC dispenses the spiritual manna to all those who wish to receive it, yet he dispenses the BS, the lies, the false promises, the deception, okay, to everybody who's looking for an outside savior. Okay, so if you're looking for an outside savior, that means what? You have a poor sense of self, you have a poor knowledge of I am, that masculine energy is weak, and you are susceptible to the masculine energy coming from religious institutions, coming from media that will interact with your feminine energy and produce beliefs, values, behaviors, and habits, and ultimately a lifestyle, situation, and conditions that you never wanted, you never chose for yourself, although you are not aware of it. And as I keep saying over and over, nature has been used, weaponized against you. The law of polarity, the law of vibration, the law of rhythm, and the law of gender have been laser focused and directed on you and all of us. And you believe this nonsense called religion, and you're paying for it through the curses. All right? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You can have as much money as you want, but I guarantee you, your life is hard. I guarantee you that. Maybe you're worried about your heirs. Maybe you're worried every time you get in the car. Those curses are still there. Okay? Still there. The presence of fish in both of these stories alert us to the Piscean motif which runs through this gospel and which reaches a climax in the final section. Fish is the symbol of the new age of Pisces, which the death of JC will inaugurate. To eat fish is to commune with Christ. That's Good Friday, right, y'all? Every Friday, y'all eat fish, but you say you're not a Catholic. In fact, which was not lost on the early Christians who ate fish each week on Friday, the day of Venus. Y'all see that? The day of Venus. The planet exalted in the sign of Pisces. Okay? The catacombs contain many examples of bread and fish as symbols of the Eucharist. Okay, so let me see what else we can find about our on page 27. Give me a second, y'all. Let me scan. Give me one moment. Oh, wow. Wow. Check this out. This is a little bit off topic. But I want to show you another remix, another astrological remix. Page 107. Now, in the religion that I was in, they taught that Christ had two flocks. The first flock is his brothers, the 144,000 who go to heaven to live with Christ as to live in heaven and rule with Christ as priests and kings. Then that's the little flock. And then the other flock was the great crowd who is to live on earth, right? They're to live on earth. And then the kingdom would come. They have the 1,000-year reign. And then if you survive the devil coming back at the end of the 1,000 years to tempt everybody, if you survive that, well, you get everlasting life as a reward. Look at this. Page 107. The deacons of Cancers. So now y'all know deacons are constellations that are located near the zodiac signs. Okay, so for example, let's say you live at 555 South Main Street. Okay? A deacon would be the house next door to you, or a house on the corner, right? Or anywhere in your neighborhood. Any house, that would be a deacon, okay? So the deacons or constellations of Cancer, the constellations that are located near Cancer constellation. Let's do it. The name of the stars in the constellation Cancer and its deacons seem more than coincidentally to be reflected in these stories. Ma'ala in Cancer is said by Fleming to mean, quote unquote, assembled thousands. Well, Christ fed the thousands, right? And Precipice, Cancer's central cluster. So in Cancer, there's a central cluster of stars called Precipice, which means the manger. Can all mean, quote unquote, the pen, quote unquote, the fold. So when you talk about the fold, well, didn't Christ refer to his followers as the fold? Right? The fold? That's a sheep. Let's continue. Quote, the enclosure, quote, the beehive, that's a constellation. Quote unquote, the beehive, a notion echoed in Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, two of Cancer's deacons. So Ursa Major and Ursa Minor are located near the constellation we call Cancer. Science contends that Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, okay, these two constellations, the great and little bears. So Ursa Major is the great bear, Ursa Minor is the little bear, have been wrongly named by the Greeks because they confused the name of the principal star in Ursa Major, Duba, with the word Dab, which is bear. Science continues. Note this, y'all. Note this. But Dupa or Duba does not mean bear, but a collection of domestic animals, quote, a fold, end quote, as in the Hebrew word dober, D-O-B-E-R. The evidence is that, according to the original intent, we are to see these constellations not two long-tailed bears, but two sheepfolds, or two flocks, the collected and folded sheep of capital God's pasture. This is Science, page 125 and 26. So that's funny. That's really funny. So y'all see how the people do perish from a lack of knowledge, a lack of astrological knowledge. If we knew this astrological knowledge, if we knew the etymology of these words, so when you start talking about astrology, mythology, etymology, all of these sciences being used together, to understand the meaning of scripture, it could be any scripture. What's that science called? That science is called, that's right, you got it, philology. Philology. See, if we knew philology, they could not run this game on us. So they have to keep us ignorant so that they can run the game on us. Y'all see it? So you absolutely must know linguistics, specifically etymology and grammar rules. Okay? So y'all go subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. The link is in the description area of this video. It's very inexpensive. It's a phenomenal course. Phenomenal. Okay? You don't need to know any Hebrew language or anything. You don't even need to be good in grammar. All right? You just need to go through it. Okay? It is an education. It's not a game. All right? It's not entertainment. It is an education. It's not boring. But I'm just letting you know that it is an education. So don't go there with the intent to be entertained. But it is not boring at all. But it's not a video game. That's my point. It's not a video game. All right. Can y'all believe that? So the flock is a remix of the constellation Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. Okay? But I don't only have this fold, I have other sheep also. All right? So, as it says here, the collected and folded sheep of capital God's pasture, that's astrological. There we see the remix. Y'all don't forget that, okay? Keep that in mind. Tell somebody about this, okay? So that you'll remember it for yourself, but you'll also help them. All right, let's continue. Alcade, a star in Ursa Minor, means, according to Fleming, the assembled. And Alphacadian means, quote unquote, the redeemed assembly. The less fanciful Allen also notes that early commentators considered the folds an appropriate title for these constellations. Page 449. Y'all got that? Oh my goodness, you can't make this stuff up. Okay, so now let's continue. Page 107, we're still there. The other deacon of Cancer is Argo. Y'all heard of Argonoa? Argonoa is Noah's Ark. Argonoa is said to be Noah's Ark. Okay, so there's an Egyptian story about Argonoa. Okay, now in this case, we're dealing with the constellation next to Cancer called Argo or Argonoa, the Ark of Noah, Noah's Ark. Okay, clearly we see that there's a connection. Noah's Ark and Ark of Noah. Clear? The deacon of Cancer is Argo. The mythological ship would carry Jason, another variation of JC/Joshua, and the Argonauts. Y'all remember that story, Jason and the Argonauts? In their quest for the golden fleece. Fleece, a sheep. Fleece, sheep, right? Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, sheep, the flock, the golden flock. Ship, the mythological ship, the ship sails on water. So now we're dealing with water, right? Water, Aquarius, emotion. Emotion. Clear? Millennius, in his survey of the constellations, describes the Argo as the ship, and then there's some, it says, I'm not going to, I'll attempt it. Quay, Vasarat, Aqua, something water. It means, quote unquote, the ship which conquered the water. Noah's Ark, Ark of Noah. A feat which JC repeats by walking on the surface of the lake. So what's happening here? It's the same story, but remember, we were introduced to the writing technique. This is a claim, okay? I don't know if this is true, but the scholars say that the ancients, let me not say the ancients, the Greeks would get a story and then they would add to the story. Anytime you add to the story, that means you're doing what? It's one, if it's the same story and you just add a little detail, well, that's clear, right? It's the same story. But they would also search for ways to write the story to hide the original story so that the reader, okay, we lost a connection, hopefully y'all can hear me. They would write the story in such a way as to hide the original story that they used as the template. And the more crafty and skillful that they were at that, the greater they were rewarded. They got acknowledgement, positive acknowledgement for being skillful at being able to hide the original story. So they would add elements or make their character do greater things in their story than what was done in the original story. So, in the original story, Ark of Noah, there was a what? A ship. The people were on a ship. Well, in this story of JC, they one up that original story. They got JC walking on water. He doesn't need a ship. So that means he's superior. But they use the same story as a template. Y'all see it? Since water has perennially symbolized the emotional nature of the human being on Uman, this action shows that JC has conquered those irrational, turbulent forces which reside in the unconscious. So when we deal with unconscious, the unconscious is what? That's the feminine energy. That's a law of gender. The unconscious is associated with feminine energy. The conscious mind is not, but it's connected to, or you can equate it to. You can equate the conscious mind to masculine energy, and you can equate the subconscious mind to feminine energy. Y'all got that? That's the law of gender. When masculine energy and feminine energy interact, and they always will, the only question is this your masculine energy? Is it your will, your goals, right? Your self-image? interacting with your feminine energy to produce or manifest what you want? Or is it somebody else's masculine energy coming in and pushing yours out of the way because it's weak for all the reasons we discussed, and interacting with your feminine energy and creating a dishonorable, socially engineered, black, Latino, etc., 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 who is polarizing rhythmically in dishonor, receiving the curses. Clear? Clear? This action shows, that's JC walking on the water, shows that JC has conquered those irrational, remember, the weak I am. Darrell-El writes, writing the Beast website has a numerological chart with various disciplines meaning. Okay. Thanks, Darrell. I'm not able to navigate. I'm on a cell phone, so I don't know how to do screen share and all of that. Or I don't even know if it's possible to do a screen share on my cell phone while live streaming. But if you got a link, or if you see some interesting info, Darrell-El, feel free to put them in there, or to put it in there. That would be great to have that for the people. This information is, I think, new to most of us. Okay. So, but much appreciated. Since water has perennially symbolized the emotional nature of the human being, the Han Uman, the hybrid, this action shows that JC has conquered those irrational, turbulent forces which reside in the unconscious. Unconscious is feminine energy. The irrational and turbulent forces, these are the results of having many different eyes, conflicting ideas about I. Remember, I is the I am, the decision maker that is not located in your physical body. In your physical body, we have me, my clothes, right? My emotions, my thoughts, my intellect. Okay? We are more in tune with me, myself. And we are usually, because of our miseducation and disconnection, or we have been de-linked from nature, so we're not even aware of the I am, that cosmic I am. Okay? Not even aware of it. So it's weak. And so what happens? We get many different ideas about I am from media. From media. Clear? And they conflict. This is what the author is talking about. If these conflicting and competing I ams, or I, that have absolutely nothing to do with the true I, or I am. Y'all see? Therefore, you have a very weak masculine energy. You're susceptible to be hypnotized, as it were, without you even knowing it. See how this works? Y'all go study the Silva method. That's an excellent way to understand the concept of not the concept, but the natural law of gender. Okay, the natural law of gender. Go study the Silva method. All right, so let's continue. You can also study advertising. Study advertising. Okay? Study the Silva method and advertising. Okay? Study self-hypnosis. Study hypnosis. Okay, do that, and you'll start to learn what gender is, what the law of gender is, okay, and how to use it. Not just know what it is, but to use it. To use it, okay. Okay. So when I read this, I'm saying the law of gender here, just jumping off the page. This action, JC walking on water, this action shows that JC has conquered the irrational, turbulent forces, that's all emotion, right? Which reside in the unconscious and constantly threaten to overwhelm us. That's emotion. And has attained that serenity of spirit which marks the enlightened individual. So you're enlightened. So what is that? That's the masculine energy, the I am. Roro writes, are you saying Silva? Yeah, the Silva method. The Silva method. SILVA. The Silva method. So the enlightened individual knows who he is, knows who he or she is. Their I am is clear. I went over that last video. Your I am. Go watch that. Genesis chapter 2, I am a autochthonous Moor, sprung from the soil, memorized in scripture at Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. Okay? I am the rightful heir of all land, of all contracts, of all commerce, of all resources, and all energy, terrestrial and cosmic. Okay? I am a people, one of the people in the preamble of the Constitution for the United States of North America. I am a Moor as memorialized in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1836, and other founding documents. I am the law. Right? It's a well-established principle. It's well-established that land and law are inseparable. I am the substance and subject matter of the law. I am the substance and subject matter of the law. Therefore, whatever I say is the law. The entire United States of North America, I'm the beneficiary of everything, all commerce that they do. I'm the beneficiary. Okay? I'm a foreign national to the U.S. Okay, y'all? And so I will invoke my treaty rights. Y'all see? Rower writes, entitled beneficiary. Yes, I'll exert my treaty rights. Okay, so now we're getting into what? Diversity of citizenship. Y'all see that? So you have a strong I am. Now you know that you are the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And since they have violated the law, how? The 14th Amendment, the democracy. Okay, so now you can be the judge of a case. You write the judgment. See, do you see how powerful this is when you know who you are? That's a strong masculine I am that demolishes the hybrid's masculine energy, stomps on it, neutralizes them, gives you your birthright back. Clear? Oh, let's continue. Okay, so in Mark chapter 6, verse 53 through 56, we see that JC demonstrates his others by healing the sick in Gennesaret and shows his contempt for man-made traditions. So that's our other point. We just confirmed it. Go back to page 28. It says attack on traditions. Okay, so JC just showed his contempt. Let me read it again. And JC shows his contempt for man-made traditions. Y'all see that? So this is signifying that this section is marked. How did he show his contempt? In his argument with the scribes and Pharisees over food laws. So now we see an attack on narrow and exclusive attitudes. So that checks off or checks out. His opponents are scandalized by the fact that JC's disciples do not perform the ritual washings before they eat. But JC attacks them mercilessly, declaring their customs bogus and their motives mercenary. That's Mark chapter 7, verse 6 through 13. Nothing he says that a man puts into his stomach can render him defiled. Defilement consists in what comes out of a man. His actions defile him, not his food. Mark 7, 14 through 23. So let's go back to page 22. And we see nourishment, heritage. We see heritage, right? That's the law. We saw protection. We see the association with the stomach and the breast. So I'm still looking for the tribe. We see clannishness with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, right? So we saw that. Let's see what else we can find. Give me 1 second, y'all. Hold on. Second, y'all. All right, am I back? Okay. All right. If y'all have any ideas, put it, or comments, or if you want to cut and paste something from the book of Mark that you see that fits Cancer on page 22, please cut and paste it and put it in the comment section. Okay?
Ông em bật đó anh nghe cũng được mà tới mà anh không nói điện
Okay, so y'all go back and read Mark chapter 8, verse 14 through 21 on your own time. Okay? Go back and read chapter 8, verse 14 through 21 on your own time. JC goes, there's another story about one loaf. When JC fed 5,000, right, with 5 loaves, the 12 that were left over, and then when he fed the Gentiles, the 7 loaves. Remember, sacred. 7 is sacred, cosmic harmony. So you get a review of that, okay? And keep the numbers in mind. Because remember, one is dealing with the Jews and one is dealing with the Gentiles. So evangelizing to both Jews and Gentiles, okay? 7, the sacred number. 6, completion. Perfect, right? In other words, they're blessing their evangelical work to conquer the world using Christianity. That's what's happening here. And they would use it, do it, accomplish it by what? Harnessing and directing cosmic energy. Period. And we can do the same. Okay, so the yeast in the story is symbolic of corruption and of tradition. So that confirms that this is also Cancer based upon the table and the information in the table on page 22 for Cancer. Okay? All right, so let's see what else. Oh, this is very interesting. Very, very interesting on page 110, y'all. Opening up, the subheading, opening up. This section also contains a lovely story of the Syro-Phoenician woman. So Syro-Phoenician, you should know she is a Moor, who begs JC to hear her daughter. JC refuses at first, declaring that it is not right to give the children's food to the dogs. Very interesting. Now remember, JC is a Jew. He's a Jew. And a Raphael. Go back and watch the videos where I covered all of this stuff. Mary is what? The mermaid of the sea. The whore of the sea. The mistress of the sea. Yes. Okay, so let me go back. Declaring that it is not right for the children's food to give the children's food to the dogs. Mark chapter 7, verse 24 through 37. Quote unquote, yes. She says, quote, but even the little dogs under the table get to eat the children's crumbs. End quote. Key word, dogs, little dogs. Key phrase, little dogs. That's Mark chapter 7, verse 28. Cancer, quote unquote, rules dogs. Dogs. Particularly the faithful, protective variety of dogs. And Alice O'Howell tells us that in the Glastonbury Zodiac, quote, it seems that instead of a crab for Cancer, there was a dog. So according to Alice O'Howell, Cancer was represented by a dog, not a crab. Y'all see where this is going, right? You see, it should be clear where this is going. So you'll find that quote on Howell, which was published in 1990 on page 136. The Greek text specifies that the woman, the Syro-Phoenician woman, now isn't it interesting? Wasn't the man who, when JC bounced, made his escape from being hung up on the cross, wasn't the man who got hung up on the cross in his stead, wasn't he also a Syro-Phoenician? Was Simon the Cyrenian? Is that correct? I have to check it. Or y'all check it. Okay? It's in the devil's pulpit. If he was a Syro-Phoenician, that would be very interesting. Now let's continue. The Greek text specifies that the woman was talking about quote unquote little dogs. In Greek, kon aria. And it is interesting that Menelaus considers this constellation Procyon, which is the little dog constellation, to be a deacon of Cancer and not like Sais et El of Gemini. Okay? So in other words, according to Menelaus, the little dog is a constellation next to Cancer. Okay, let's continue. Menelaus writes, but when the crab hath doubled 10 degrees and reared 7 more, bright Procyon leaves the sea. So it appears that Procyon is what? Rising up above the horizon. The Procyon or little dog constellation is rising up above the horizon, rising up above the zone of Horus. Okay? Or Horus zone. Okay, so let's continue. Inclines to weave strong nets to train the hound dog, that's a little dog, right? To know the breed and to improve the sound. This is on page 161. Could the woman's reply contain a veiled reference to the constellation that Mark considered a deacon of Cancer, which would be Procyon, the little dog constellation? This is not unlikely. So the author is saying that this is very probable. The deacons loosely surround the zodiacal constellations and in some cases might be said to belong to one as to the other. In other words, let's say Pisceon is located next to Cancer and it's also in the neighborhood of Gemini. Okay, so it's deacons of both Cancer and Gemini. Clear? All right. In fact, Menelaus' list of deacons is quite different from Sais' list of deacons. And this discrepancy could not indicate, this discrepancy could indicate some measure of discernment in the ancient world. However, as far as I am aware, according to the author, this is the only occasion on which Mark seems to follow the tradition represented by Menelaus over the one that Sais inherited from the 10th century Arab astronomer Al-Bassamur. So in other words, whoever wrote Mark relied almost entirely on Sais' work. Sais got his astrological information from the Arab astronomer Al-Bassamur. That would have been a Moor, okay, not a hybrid. Clear? So the only instance where Mark relied on Menelaus' list of deacons would be this instance where we're talking about, where the Syro-Phoenician woman begs JC to heal her daughter, and JC calls her a dog. Okay? A little dog. All right? No, JC calls her a dog, but she refers to herself metaphorically as a little dog. There are, in fact, quite a number of quote-unquote dogs in this part of the sky. And Sacius mentions Catalui and Canes, Lacone, the lap dogs or puppies, and the Spartan dogs as titles for both of the bears. This is found on Allen, page 450. So again, we see an astrological remix. Y'all see it? An astrological remix, clear as day. The little dog in that story refers to the constellation Procyon, or the little dog constellation. A deacon of Cancer. It could also refer to these others mentioned at the bottom of the paragraph. So we see a purely astrological remix, into a biographical or historical story about JC, the Christ figure. Clear as day. See, y'all, all of this stuff cannot be coincidental. Right? It's too much evidence. Too much evidence to say this is coincidence. All right? All right. Wow, we've been going for a long time. So let me see where we're at in our box. Page 22. Hold on, y'all. All right. Hopefully we still have a connection. Okay, so let's go back to page 22. Protection, the tribe, clannishness. Hold on, y'all. The clannishness, I'm going to associate that with the scribes and the Pharisees. The heritage. I'm not sure if they were talking about the food laws, the dietary laws, or the washing of the hands. We saw the attack on narrow and exclusive attitudes. That's with the scribes and the Pharisees. We saw the food and stomach concerns. That's the feeding of the Jews and the Gentiles. We saw the attack on traditions, the traditions of the scribes and the Pharisees, right? We saw the themes of nature. So we saw the main incidents, the main events, incidences in Mark chapter 6, verse 30 through chapter 8, verse 26. And we saw the key words, the zodiacal key words. Now, are there others? Probably so, because I didn't go through the whole section of Cancer. I didn't go through the whole section of Cancer, but I'm sure if y'all continue, you'll probably find more. Okay, let me just look through here quickly. Yeah, I'm sure there's more. The next subheading, if y'all want to continue this, the next subheading would be JC's Strange Journey. Right? Remember, he took a way roundabout way to go from Tyre. Well, let me not talk because I don't remember the details. But y'all can get that on page 110, okay? Support my project if you feel it in your heart. If you want to have our own copy of the Book of the Law, I'm the man to do it. I need your support. I need wide support, broad-based support from our people in order to put this project together. The Book of the Law, written in Ancient Ibaryath and modern English, along with all of the technical information presented to you, such as parts of speech, all the grammar rules, the etymology, so on and so forth. This is a really, really big project, and I need broad-based support in order to do it. So y'all, if y'all want it, show me that you want it. If you appreciate these presentations, and everything that I'm doing, support that project if you feel it in your heart, okay? If you want to continue to be ruled by another man's or by a hybrid's masculine energy, that means you're a bitch if you're a man. Don't support the project. Continue to be influenced by their masculine energy. Continue to be influenced by their masculine energy by reading and studying their books, their documents. Okay, keep going to their camps, churches and assemblies, synagogues, mosques. Keep reading their books, okay? Keep listening to their entertainment. And you make yourselves their what? I just said it. Okay? You are volunteering through what? Through your lack of willpower, through your lack of appreciation of yourself. Robo writes, they got quiet when you spelled the B word. Yeah. But it's true. It's true. Anytime a man lets somebody else, a man or a woman, overpower them and control them, you've been a bitch. That might hurt, but that's what's happening. Just like Mike Tyson, as big as he was, as physically fierce as he was cosmically somebody else's bitch because he had a weak I am. Weak masculine energy. Y'all follow me? Period. Rowo writes, I agree. Thank you. So we must support our own, because it's supporting ourselves. We have to exert our masculine energy. Okay? Our masculine energy. And we don't need everybody. We just need a critical mass. So we don't have to worry about what other people think. Let them be. You worry about you. And tell somebody, teach somebody this information. And do it. So you can start to produce evidence that other people will see. Okay, like Ali said, Muhammad Ali said. He said, "Don't nobody want to listen to you. Don't nobody want to hear what you got to say if you ain't got no money." Right? That's what he said. And that was one of the things that he said that drove him to be the boxer and the man that he was, because he wanted to have a positive influence on his people. And he understood that he needed to have money, which meant he needed to win his fights so that he could have a positive impact on his people. So these natural laws will put you in a better financial state. But you must not learn them only. You must learn them and do them. All right, y'all? So I've written several Ancient Ibaryath books. The links are in the description area of this video. So go out and buy them. Come to my class, the live online class, every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Man up. Man up. Show up. Okay, if you don't show up, that means what? If you have it in your mind to go, but you don't, that means what? You have a weak will. Your will is weak for that. But you must reclaim and recover this for yourself. So if your will is weak, what is that telling you? What is it telling you? It's telling you that another man's masculine energy is interacting with your feminine energy. That's telling you what's happening. Because a strong will A strong sense of I am. You be Johnny on the spot, Johnny on the spot. You be there 15, 20, 30 minutes, 1 hour early.
ก็ให้หมักไว้ด้วยจะเก็บเอาไว้
Okay? So we can tell what our masculine energy is by whether or not we're able to exert our will. In other words, you do what you say you're going to do. Anyway, subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. That's a streaming course. You're going to learn Ancient Ibaryath, the fundamentals. It's comprehensive. It's interesting. It's not boring. You don't need any Hebrew, modern or biblical background. Okay? Just get in where you fit in and start learning. All right? Uh-oh. Hey, y'all, my battery is about to go out. I got to bounce. Shalom and Islam to the Moors. Y'all support me when I check my PayPal account. Let me see some love. Let me know that y'all are supporting me with this project to write the book of the law in Ancient Ibaryath and modern English to raise up our people to return to the Most High. Islam and Shalom.